Hello and welcome to the Cloud Gaming Report, your weekly news source for everything going on in the world of cloud gaming. I'm your host, Zach, and in this week we're going to kick off with the big news topic of the week, and that is the fact that Nvidia has brought the full PC/Mac version of the GeForce Now application to the Shield devices. So previously, the Shield devices had their own version of GeForce Now. Yes, it was the exact same name of the app, but a completely different application. That had a subscription fee. They actually a couple months ago waived that subscription fee and made the service free. But what that subscription fee got you was a select set of games, mostly older games, that you were able to play for free outside of the cost of the subscription. The new version of the GeForce Now that is available on PC and Mac, you play games from Uplay and Steam, for instance, and you still have to buy those games, but you're essentially buying, once the service gets out of beta and actually starts costing money, the access to cloud hardware to play those games. So you have a much wider library and you can play much newer games right off the bat for the most part, because Nvidia is really good about adding new games as a supported application. And even if a game isn't technically supported, you can still go to your Steam library and install a game, but it might have issues because Nvidia hasn't added it to their approved list and haven't tested it thoroughly. So with all that in mind, this is definitely a good move. It removes two different products with the same name, which should remove a lot of confusion in the future. There wasn't a great explanation for why they named two different products the same name, outside of the fact of they already had the GeForce Now version that is available on the Shield, and then they thought of the idea of when they launched the Mac version and the PC version, and this was kind of planned all along because they knew that this was kind of a superior idea of giving you a much wider library and not restricting you to a much narrower library of older titles. So with all that in mind, a great idea in my opinion. And if you do download the GeForce Now app on the Shield, it is completely free and it is not invite only. On the PC and Mac, you have to apply for an invite and you have to wait for quite some time normally. A lot of people buy keys off of eBay simply because they've been waiting for months and months on end. Technically, I am still waiting for my invite from Nvidia. Luckily, I had a great friend, Darren, that gave me one of his accounts so I can actually start testing it now. But technically, if it wasn't for that move, I would still be waiting on an account. So this is a cool move. You can buy the hardware from Nvidia and you can instantly get into the action on the Shield. In fact, if once you have created an account on the Shield, you can actually play on the PC/Mac using that account that you have created. You are limited to creating one account on your Shield device, so you can't just start spamming accounts and start selling those on eBay. So don't think you're going to be able to pay for your Shield device by selling keys for the GeForce Now beta on eBay. So with all that in mind, that's a very cool update. Definitely is nice to see them kind of bringing the two different applications of GeForce Now under a single application, so all the features are the same, and it's definitely a move that is showing that Nvidia is still focused on GeForce Now, and it is going to be a very interesting future because the Shield devices are aimed at more like the mainstream market. So it'll be interesting to see if Microsoft and Sony start sweating this possibly. I know they're both working on cloud services. Actually, Sony already has their cloud services. I've heard it's not great, and I've had very good experiences with GeForce Now. So it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes down in the future because these devices are generally much cheaper. You can buy a pro version of the Shield that is a little bit more expensive, but has like capabilities like to be a Plex server though. So with all that in mind, it'll be interesting. And the final thing I wanted to talk about here, though, is the Shield devices run Android, or at least heavily based on Android TV. I think the Shield console is running Android TV based upon version 7 of Android, which is Nougat, or however you want to pronounce that, depending on where you are from in the world. So what my point is, though, is I'm wondering, now that they have the full version of GeForce Now on the Shield devices, if they are possibly thinking about making the move to releasing this application fully on the Play Store so you can play it on pretty much any Android tablet or phone. I personally don't really have a clear idea of what they would do. I could see why they want to keep it solely on the Shield devices that are running Android or heavily based upon Android TV with some definitely custom modifications, of course. But I can see why they'd want to keep it exclusive to kind of push people to buying the Shield devices. But it'll be interesting to see if they do release it completely on Android phones and Android tablets, just to get an idea of how big of a push Nvidia can make into the world of making cloud gaming mainstream. That might be something that waits to the future because they are still in beta, and we really haven't heard any word of when they're going to exit beta and how much the service is going to cost. I have heard rumors that it is going to be very competitive, possibly even as low as like around $15. So it'll be very interesting to see how things shake up in the future. Moving on from there, we have new games on the GeForce Now platform this week that have been added to the approved list. On 7/11, those were Crusader Kings 2, Usine Real, House Flipper, Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, Oxygen Not Included, Shadowrun Returns, Salt and Sanctuary, and finally Sundered. On 7/12, they added Islands of Nine Battle Royale. So that's actually a game that I'm interested in playing. The games from 7/11, I didn't actually haven't heard of any of them, but it could be a game that you're looking out for. So if any of those games ring a bell and is a game that you have in your Steam library, go launch up your GeForce Now application, assuming that you are in the beta or have a Shield device, and try testing them out and seeing how well they function. And do leave me a comment below if you have any problems. I'll be interested to see if any games that are on the approved list are having any issues, or if you just have a great experience generally with the service. Finally, the last topic for this week, and it is a fairly short episode this week in this week's podcast, but I just wanted to draw everybody's attention to the chance of winning free money for Steam to get some free games. So Shadow is hosting a competition on their Discord. You can find a link to that in the show description or the under the YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. All you have to do is share a picture of your battle station or your Shadow station, as they're calling it, whatever device you use to play Shadow on the cloud. As long as you share that in their Discord, you are entered for a chance to win a $50 Steam gift card to buy some more games. Sadly, this has taken place right after the big Steam sale earlier this summer, so you're not going to be able to get some games on super cheap unless you save that $50 to the next Steam sale. So guys, thanks for watching / listening. I greatly appreciate all your support. If you are not already subscribed / whatever you want to call it on your podcast app of choice, please do that to stay tuned for more great episodes of the Cloud Gaming Report. And again, once again, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, Zach out.